So, a few years ago, I made a couple different videos related to Genius. Those videos were talking about the new copyright system at the time that they had implemented and how a lot of that would slowly kill their community. And how at the time, before that even, they were already doing a lot of that because even before those new copyright changes at the time, some of the ones that they already had implemented before then were causing a lot of damage as well. And I hate that I have to say this, but they did not prove me wrong. Genius very much ended up proving me right with that situation, which it really sucks to see that happen. Because even though it's been a while since I've fully gone through one of the games, a lot of it due to lack of passion for it, to be completely honest. It is a company that I've really enjoyed a lot of the works of, and it's sad to see them go down this path. But at the end of the day, Genius really just caused their own downfall. Because the big thing, the new copyright system, they screwed themselves over with that. They didn't revert on that, and at first it seemed like a slower death, but then it ended up speeding up faster and faster until the first building block that really broke was when GoBit Entertainment was being struck a lot. Because he was Genius's biggest creator, at least for the bishoujo side, and he was one of the bigger ones, even if he wasn't the biggest one for the otome side. Which, taking out your biggest creator is something not community, something no company should desire to do. GoBit was bringing so many more people to the Genius games, and through the repeated copyright strikes, eventually his entire YouTube channel got taken down because of it. And just like that, we started to see the dominoes falling. Even though at the time I had stopped uploading a lot of Genius content, I was thinking about getting back into it until I saw that happening. I made a community post a while back about it to try to save his channel, but that didn't end up happening, unfortunately. And it's really sad because I was actually really wanting to get back into it. So many other people who were wanting to do Genius content just decided not to after that. And then there were some people who were already doing Genius content and decided to stop because of that. The only person who I can really think of off the top of my head that does like actual gameplay stuff for the Genius videos is Ember Fox Gaming. Big shout out, by the way. And a lot of that isn't just Genius. He does a lot of other gameplay videos in general. It's not just from the one company. And a lot of that has to do with their copyright system being so screwed up after the changes they implemented a few years back. I really wish that Genius could have proven me wrong, but it just doesn't seem that way. And I'm going to read off a screenshot that Ember Fox Gaming took of the Genius Patreon that he sent to me. Basically, it says Genius Office 10 hours ago. I'll be canceling the office contract in a month, so I'm sharing a photo of it. Thinking about how many works here were created over the past 5 years makes me feel deeply sentimental. I hope to rebuild the company and create even more exciting works in the future. So we can see why that is negative, because it genuinely seems like the company is shutting down, which is really unfortunate because they've had they've had their ups and downs for sure. I'm not gonna act like they haven't. They've had peak like Sakura Scramble and dog shit like My Dragon Girlfriend. But it was worth going through the garbage just to get to those peaks. And it's not just like one or two games that are that good. There are a solid handful of really good visual novels that they've done. And the second thing that really killed Genius outside of their copyright striking was when they decided to change their audience. I honestly think that this first started with My Sweet Stalker. Now, I haven't finished that game, but from that point onward, I saw one smaller part of the Genius community start to get more pronounced. The silent minority started to slowly grow until they became a vocal majority. And the vocal majority after that was a lot of really masochistic people who it's just so uncomfortable talking about this as well, because Genius switched their entire intended audience pretty much up for at least a handful of months to just be masochists into dommy mommies and shit like that. And I'm just, okay, maybe a one-off game here and there for those people, but changing your entire audience to that, just, they lost so many people from that. And that's really where I was like, okay, nope, I'm out for good. I'm not doing this for a really long time. And that's mostly where I stopped doing that. Now, I'm not gonna toot my own horn and say, oh, I was one of the biggest Genius creators, but I did pull in a solid amount of views from my videos. Now, to be fair, it wasn't like 10 to 20,000 per video or anything, but I did rake in a few hundred viewers from the 3 playthroughs that I did, and that's not even including the other Genius content that I've made. That's probably brought it up to maybe 500 total. And seeing this happen, it sucks. There's no way to get around it. It fucking sucks. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just gotta let things that you love make their own mistakes and learn from it. Hopefully Genius learns from this one. Maybe they can get themselves going back up again, because they've decided to revert to their old audience, but that hasn't seemed to work because a lot of their old audience has just stopped. And for good reason. Because we can't trust, or sorry, I shouldn't say we can't trust Genius not to go back to that. But once that's already happened, it makes it a genuine question to see how far Genius would be willing to go in that path to try to appease a different area of their audience, rather than what the people who are truly loyal to the company and their art would want. It's just sad. And over the past several months, I finally rejoined the big Genius Discord server. And the big thing that I've heard from a handful of people is that Genius games are no longer... It used to be special for everyone on the server. And now it's mostly just all average. Which is... sucks to see, man, but that's what happens when the 3 huge things that they did that killed their community: the new copyright strike, shit, fuck, reset mentally, 1, 2, fuck you. Okay. The new copyright rules that they implemented were the first thing that made them take a huge hit. Then the second was their huge change of their intended audience. And returning back, as we saw, didn't do much to benefit them because it had been too late at that point. Then the third thing that really put the nail in the coffin for Genius as a company was the fact that when they returned to the more general audiences, it just wasn't impressive enough to gain new people or to try to recapture the old fans. And the people who were huge into the masochist ones dipped as well. So you didn't get back your old audience, you didn't create a new audience, you lost your current audience, so you have no one. And Genius just, they dug this hole for themselves. As much as I don't want this to be the case, unfortunately it just is. And I have to see the death of a company that I really enjoyed a lot of the works of. Hopefully they can get back up and running at some point. And I know that they're still releasing stuff, but maybe this is stuff that they had already had in the works for multiple years, because I know sometimes their visual novels take that long to make. But I hope they can get back up and running. If not, then oh well. It was a good run. But take this as a lesson. Don't shoot yourself in the foot when trying to grow in popularity. Because Genius shot themselves in the foot so many times, and it utterly ruined them and everything they had.